things. Yes. That is a Christmas tree in the background. Funny story. They had a power cut here yesterday in the shop. So it was rather dark and gloomy. So they decided to, got some cleaning and doing a few bits and pieces. And Heather decided it was time to get the tree out. I know it's only the 4th of November, but hey, we can celebrate a little bit longer. Speaking of things to celebrate, as always, first Thursday of the month is my favourite pony
Good
to this
morning.
dog.
Hello. How
Hello.
you
Hello.
going?
I'm very well. Ethan here from Outlaw HQ. And of course, we have our own little H News sort of set up upstairs now. I mean, it's
Yes. Yeah, I'm
stop
tucked
it.
upstairs. Oh, it's just wait. I'm gonna have a backdrop soon. You're not even gonna know what's happening, people.
Stop it.
Um,
Will it have a
yeah,
Christmas tree in
so
it?
absolutely not. Oh God. Might have like a shelf of bourbon, and like over the course of the months of the videos, you'll like see the bottles
Go.
disappear. But like, yeah, right? Like, oh, do not pay attention to the bourbon levels, people at home. Like, that's not a good game to play. Oh,
Very
so many
good.
familiar faces already
I
all
know
popping
everyone
in.
is.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
what it's like where everyone else is. We only connected just before we went live because for some reason I couldn't connect to the internet. I was the one that was late. Ethan was already
Classic.
waiting for me when I got there. But the weather here today is just dire. I had a fire at home last night.
Oh my goodness.
I know it was 12 degrees,
At this time
and
in the day.
yeah, I know, crazy,
Oh.
right?
It is, it's a lie outside in Canterbury right now. It looks nice, but it is chilly. That's
Yes,
how I'm gonna put
same.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we've look, I'm not complaining about the rain because usually springtime is one of two things in Hawke's Bay. I'm either very wet and windy, I mean very dry and windy, or sort of wet and miserable. So we've gone with wet and miserable, which means that I have a happy garden. And you don't feel guilty knitting, which is always a good thing.
I never feel guilty knitting. That's
No,
crazy.
no. I've been sort of having mojo issues. And I was
Tell me
touching on,
more.
yeah, I was talking, having huge mojo issues. I was talking about that on Monday. So arrived on Monday, and we'll dive into this a little later because I've got other things I want to talk about first. But I did, I just started, I cast on a hitchhiker.
Oh, that doesn't sound like you at all. Is that with the new Pulse color?
Yeah,
There we go. Look at
disco.
that. See, the good news is, like, when in doubt, you've always got Hitchhiker.
I know. And it's about all that the brain could sort of cope with, which is
Yeah.
fine because I know it off by heart, even the setup rows. And it was like, okay, no, that's fine. And I have done, to be fair, I have done about 3 or 4 inches of shoji as well. I'm just gently chipping away on that. So that's all good. Now, I see that we have a shawl, a hat finished. Because
Oh,
last time I
yes.
saw that it was still on the border. So
Yeah.
we
So this guy is all done.
it's all
So
done.
this is Spire by Layla Raven. It's a classic Brooklyn tweed pattern from, I think, the Loft collection launch
Yeah.
when they first brought Loft out. So it's actually a proper square hat. Although instead of being picked up from the border, it's knit from the center out, and then you knit the border on. Um, so it's a little intricate. Um, it's got some double wave Shetland lace, which is this portion here. So the waves slowly get larger in it.
Yeah.
Occasionally that's referred to as Shetland shell, but that is incorrect. Shell lace is the one that looks like a razor.
Yeah.
And then it has this really inventive border. But what she's done that's quite clever is this central lace motif here multiplies and travels throughout the entire pattern. And then you actually flip it sideways. So when you look at the border on its side, it's actually that same lace pattern from the center
Oh.
being worked in a different direction. So it creates this really, really beautiful cohesion throughout the pattern. If you are an experienced lace knitter, this is a very relaxing knit because it's mostly stockinette in the center. I will not lie, the border is expansive. So it's nearly 500 and some odd stitches.
See, expansive is the polite word. You use something much crasser last time I spoke to you about that border. Because
So
you did
like
that in Rebel Destiny Light, didn't you?
this is Rebel Destiny Light
Yeah.
and Origin because I just thought that the natural cream would look best for it.
Yeah.
I actually used all of the scraps from all the scanning mistakes that happened. So this is a scrap, my version of a scrap project.
Mm.
Um, the thing about it is that when you're working this sort of lace, it gets really, really tedious. And I found the border repeat of the garter stitch section here really hard to get into my brain, which is not normal for me. Normally, I do something once or twice and I kind of remember it, but it was really quite frustrating. So once I got this memorized, it really picked up pace. And it was just kind of like sitting there and chipping away at it
Yeah.
day after day after day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
Morgane's
Morgan
asking how
wants to
much
know
I
how much you
used.
used.
I will have to weigh this little beastie and tell you that way. Um, I believe that it is 8 skeins because I think the lovely Kathy has done the math on this before. It's 8 skeins to get this guy going.
Yeah, Kathy's yep, she said 8 skeins. And
Yeah.
and yeah, so I know. Have
But
you
I
got any
have
of
been
that natural left in the Rebel Destiny lot?
Yes, we do. We have lots of origin left.
Great.
I love it in this color, and I kind of have styled it like a little capelet, I guess,
Yeah.
is the term that we're going with. I'm just wearing it like a cape because it has so much structure that you can actually fold it and create the, oh wow,
Yeah.
that's a really attractive camera angle. There we go. So it actually gives it like a shawl collar effect. In case anyone was wondering where the term shawl collar came from, it's from folding a square shawl to wear it like this. Surprise. Surprise team.
One of those
It's a
delightful little factoids that only someone like you would know.
Yeah, well, I've been on a big kick of like shawl knitting. So I also made a U rock. This is by Suzanne Summer.
Oh yes, well
So
this was
it's
fun because this was with the fades that you were doing with the
yeah.
hedgehog.
Yeah, so this is a hedgehog fade. We actually have, I think, almost all of these colors still in stock if you wanted to make one that looked just like this. So it's Insomnia, Comeback, Danube, and Rosehip. I'm looking at Deb with a question on my face.
Wasn't no, it wasn't Beach Bunny, was it?
No,
Okay,
it's
no, I think it
Insomnia,
was Danube.
Comeback, Danube, and
Yeah.
Rosehip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
It's a really fun knit. If you like brioche and garter stitch, this is the pattern for you. It starts with a really fun little I-cord cast on right here at the top, which everybody says is confusing. I promise it's not. Just follow her instructions. I know that's I know that's a dickish thing to say, but like
No,
you just have
you're
to do
allowed
what
to
the
say
pattern
that because
says.
I've got a pack of dicks out here, like the entire
Yeah.
staff giving me grief. Hence the I
How
know.
dare they? How dare
I
they?
know. Well, one of them's rolling around out there with the drill and she's drilling things while I'm in here, which is why I'm getting distracted because I'm like, what are they doing?
You
They
don't want to
worry me.
know. They should. I've met them. No. So it has a beautiful fading effect, and then you do a contrast on the end. So you want to fade and then grab something contrasting. Our entire hedgehog fiber stock is up online. If anybody is in the hunt for the perfect U rock, you just email me. I'll get you
Yeah.
sorted. It's great. 1 color brioche, 2 color brioche, and garter stitch. All the skills you need. I am famous, as Maree knows, for not enjoying to knit. Like I don't like to knit. I actually enjoyed making this. Like I enjoyed the process of knitting this. It was really fun. And the colors were just a great thing to play with. Obviously, I've been doing a little, I'm going to do some of the heavy lifting for the project stuff because Maree does not have a lot of knitting mojo at the moment, as she said. So don't you worry, everyone. I've got you covered because I have a shit ton of stuff to talk about.
I needed
So
the girls to get me. Sorry, I needed the girls to get me a glass of water, right?
yeah,
Had a frog
that's
in the
fair.
throat. She walks in with a beer.
Well, yeah. She's trying to help. So just for the record, I am only in clue 3. I have not finished clue 4. So we're
Not a
post
spoiler.
spoilers.
No.
Okay, we're post spoilers team.
So this uses all of the new colors
plus parchment.
past parchment, right?
So I went with Curio, Radiance, the returning fave Tiffin, the ultra returning fave Old Bow, which has come back from a deep slumber.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, we obviously have friends who are knitting this as well. And I don't mean to brag, but I think mine's the best.
Say it
Surprise.
looks fabulous, and I did, I've seen a few that I really like. Janet, Mackay's one is gorgeous. She
Yeah,
uses
it is
lots. You saw hers,
beautiful.
lots of those
Yeah.
beautiful jewel tones, fabulous color placement. And Lynn Walsh just put hers up this morning or last night, and hers
Mm.
looks fabulous too.
Well, this really suits solid colors, which we've talked about is a great
Mm.
thing Stephen did this time around. I think what's nice about mine, given the fact that it's probably going to live in the shop, is that you can really clearly see each segment and section
Yeah.
because of the graphicness of the colors I chose. I
And I
also,
like the three-dimensional aspect to this.
yeah, I love it. And
Yeah.
I have to say, I love the tentacle monsters.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else, I saw several people who have been like, oh, I don't enjoy the tentacles. You know what? This is about fun. Like, this is
Yeah.
supposed to be enjoyable. So just like enjoy the crazy. Like, why would you, if you're going into a Stephen West project and you're not going to knit it exactly as he's written,
Yeah.
it's not going to be he encourages that, but it's not going to be what you want at the end.
Yeah.
Just go for it. Have a good time. Enjoy
Well, it's a
the
bit like
fun.
somebody who's sober going to a rave and then standing in the middle of the room
Yeah.
going, oh, they're playing the
Oh my
music too
God.
loud. Isn't it,
I
really?
just honestly, I mean, I've never been to a rave I didn't enjoy, and I have never drank a drop in my life. Famously teetotaler here.
You never complained about the music being too loud, I'm sure.
Not even once, kids.
Exactly.
I have to say, I've really come around on the party hats. So, like, I'm not a big fan. I call the triangles party hats, everyone, because
Well,
they
they
have
kind of
like,
do with the little bobbles at the end, yeah.
right? I think it's about just like having a good time with it. So, like, I do love the little pillows. I love the party hats. The tentacles are super fun. The Slippy V is so good. Deline is right. Who needs drugs when you're doing a West Knits mystery knit along?
Exactly.
Severe. I have to say, like, every time I complete a section, I'm so happy that I'm just doing it as it's written. And if you listen to his advice about color placement, you end up with these really cool effects between each section where you can see them kind of calling to each other visually.
And having seen the finished shawl now and the fourth clue, what I do love about the fourth clue is it ties all the colours together in a big sort of exclamation point, which is, I think, brilliant.
Now, I do have to say, and I'm going to say this once about this, I think that mine kind of looks like a 1940s circus.
Yes.
I think that's kind of the color palette I've ended up with. And I'm really not sad about it. It has like this strangely vintage feel, where it's just like layers and layers of fun stuff going on. And it's just so graphic. Like,
actually, I would even go
love how graphic
further
it
and
is.
say it's not so, more kind of like 1930s traveling carnival
Yeah.
roadshow. You know, it's
Yeah,
got
that's
that,
closer.
yeah.
Like one of those ones, especially that would go around Australia with all the like random stuff in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say I do wish it was bigger. I think that's my only thing is last year's was so big.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping because of how much yarn we needed that this one was going
Mind
to
you,
be
that would block out though.
humongous.
You'd actually probably get what, a 20% relaxation.
Yeah,
on
most
that?
likely. I mean, so I knit mine down on a 3.5 millimeter needle because I love Bohemia knit densely. And I just wanted it like tight because there was so much texture and structure that I didn't want to be losing stuff. Obviously, we've just wrapped up Outlaw October. So if anybody is still participating and going through, yes, Deline, yours is a fluoro acid trip. I agree. In the best way. If anybody is still going or hasn't decided to cast on a mystery knit along, jump on and do it. It's so much fun. It's just a really good time. I finished 2 jumpers. I did finish one on November 2nd. I'm sorry to say, everyone. I did my best to try to finish most of the shawl in 2 jumpers in 1 month. But it turns out that if you take on Jared Flood and Michelle Wang and Stephen West all at once, y'all gonna lose. So I made Deb a jumper. And
I'm dying to see this.
So this is Oshima, and we have really exciting news. I think the microphone on my head will pick up Deb, and if she needs to confirm so that all of you can believe me. But we have actually found a jumper that fits the boobs.
Yes.
Oh, well, she's there. Get her to put it on.
would you like to put it on and model it for the crowds? She's making a face, but she's
No,
going to do it, I think.
don't give a scrunchy face.
I'm
Because
shaking it at her.
yeah, no,
I'm
because
going to hand it to her off camera so she can
and
put it
that
on.
color is so good on her. Will be
Oh,
so good on
it's so
her.
great. She's stripping off her other jersey.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
get rid of that.
everyone.
What she got on the flex? Flex she's got on at the minute.
I think she's wearing. Oh no, it's the Weekender Light. It's the Weekender Light. We're having a very Andrea Mowry moment at Outlaw Yarn, everyone. Deb's knitting a rose cardigan. I'm making a So Faded. No one knows what's going on. Don't worry, we're fine. We're just having some fun. Oh, sorry. Both Deb and I wore our inappropriate rings today that have like stuff sticking up from them. So of course they're getting stuck on everything. Like both Deb and I really like jewelry team, but we have a bad habit of like, oh yes, she's settling in. I'm gonna go. I have to
go
do
and style here. Go and style here.
Assist on the sleeves.
The cuffs are quite deep.
Get her all styled.
We're working into it.
Gosh, you're going to hear the rain on the roof in the second. It's absolutely started tipping it down here. It's crazy. Ooh, I spy with my little eye something beginning with P in the background.
Yeah, as it's getting.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure
Ooh,
if I'm
oh, stop it! Oh gosh, and how Outlaw? Of course, he ends up woven in.
Oops.
Oh, it's just I have to use those to tack the cuffs back.
Yeah. And I love that
That's
shawl collar.
It's maybe a slightly aggressive neckline going on there.
It's
I know that Ethan would wear it like this, but
yeah,
it wants to hang out. It likes you. It's friendly. It's a friendly shawl collar. So there we go. Right. October 1. And I have to say the fit on the front is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I've steam blocked it, so it's sitting quite well. Yes. But the back is amazing. Like it just has such a beautiful fit through the back on Deb, especially. Oh God, when we go out in public wearing this, I'm just going to be constantly adjusting her. It's going to be a nightmare for everyone involved.
No, it's
hey, this is the first time I've had it on.
It's the first time she's worn it since it's been blocked. So, but yeah, it looks great and it fits. Yay! Yay! Victory!
Yeah, and a shawl collar looks great on Deb too, because I know she's got another jumper with a shawl collar.
She's leaving us. But yeah, the shawl collar looks amazing on her. And the color is just so good.
Well,
it was such a worthwhile knit.
I've done with the big relaxed collar. I just love it, you know. Well, and I think a lot of it too with fit as well is that
she just looks very she's sitting over there in it and she looks very like decadent and like stately in a good way.
Well,
it's just
and the other thing with those big collars as well, and I mean I'm not quite as full in the bust as Deb, but not far off. And yeah.
It's a team sport.
I know it is a team sport. You know, and it's like, you know, the things they don't tell you. They don't tell you that these things get bigger as you age. But anyway, it's a whole nother thing. I love a shawl collar because it puts all your attention back up here. Yeah. You know, and if you're wanting to disguise places and faces, it just it is.
Well, and that one's great
and that
because
color's so good on here.
It has a modified, what I would refer to as a French shoulder, where the front comes up over the top of the shoulder, and then it's seamed in at the back. So it's a set-in sleeve. It's fully seamed, by the way, everyone. The body is knit in around to the underarms, and you split for the front and the back. Yeah. It is brioche, and you do need to use a woolen spun fingering weight yarn for that. I would not... that would be quite an adventure to knit in a non-woolen spun yarn. It takes a lot of yarn, so it was 16 skeins I counted last night. 16 skeins.
And you did Bohemia Light double-stranded, didn't you?
No, you actually did Rebel Destiny Light, yes.
Destiny Light
and for once, Deb actually got the color that she wanted, and she took the last of it. So no Ace of Swords for any of you. No, however, we do have some really stunning, I really want to see it in orange, and we have two gorgeous ones still, which I did also, for those of you who don't watch the Breakfast Bourbon or don't follow me on Instagram, which I'm EBE forever on Instagram, follow me. What are you doing with your lives? I did finish Stonecutter as well.
Yeah.
So this little beastie is super, super fun. It has it's a Michelle Wang party. It's got all of her signatures. It's oversized. Just as a side note, if you knit a Michelle Wang pattern, she does not do things that fit. Not in a, like, everything fits, but you're not going to get anything extremely fitted out of her. It's
Yeah.
not her approach to garments. So when you knit hers, you will see that she has told you to knit a specific size, and you're going to feel like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of ease in this. I shouldn't do that. Trust me, Michelle does really know what she's doing. Although her luxury, like, blogging life looks amazing. I spent 10 minutes watching her apply lipstick the other day.
I love
yeah.
the peplum around the hem with that
The
sort of
peplum
flat-
is, yeah, it's
to
so
me, that's actually
flattering.
what sets it apart from just being a cabled sweater. That
Yeah.
just, I love
The
it.
peplum at the hem is amazing. And the central cable is one of those things where from a distance, you just see those beautiful big crosses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, when we have holes in knitting and they're there repeatedly, we tend to call them yarn overs. But when you get up close, you can see all of the detail that's actually in the cabling. So there's wrap stitches, and there's like little cable twists traveling up the center of other cables, and all sorts of criss and crosses. It's absolutely beautiful. But yes, so it does have a vented construction. So these are not holes. These are yarn overs. They're there intentionally. They're meant to be there, everybody. So don't be startled. And yes, when you cable and do a yarn over at the same time, the gap gets bigger. Cables and yarn overs and lace all at once is kind of a Michelle Wang staple. She loves a cabled yarn over. Which even for me, some days I'm like, I really don't feel like trying to do a 4x4 cable with a yarn over at the same time, Michelle, but she does not care. But yeah, I love it. It's really comfortable. I modified the neck, surprise, because I don't do rolled necks.
Yeah.
But it is great, and it fits over the hips really, really beautifully. So yeah, that's what's going on.
Wow. No,
It's been a
fabulous.
whirlwind
Well,
of Ethan knitting. Oh, and I do have a hat that's out with my testers right now. The first couple of projects are rolling in. I'm sending out the cowl later this week to the same group of people to test. Hopefully they don't regret their life choices at the end of this process. And then what's the last one? Oh, and then the mittens as well, because there's mittens.
Cool.
It's a whole set. Just for all of you bauble lovers out there, because I know that like you're chomping at the bit for baubles and cables simultaneously.
Hey, now Guy wants to know. He's got Michelle Wang's Longfellow on his list.
Longfellow.
Does it have? Yeah. Does it have an excess of positive ease?
So Longfellow is a little bit of an outlier. Michelle rarely works in stockinette. Because of the way she cables, most of her fabrics are so the short answer is no, Guy, it doesn't. There we go. The long answer is Michelle rarely works in plain stockinette. So when she does, you end up with patterns that are significantly different. Because of how heavily cabled most of her patterns are, the fabric is actually quite stiff in structure, not in a bad way. It's just that's the nature of extreme cabling. And as anybody who's knit a Michelle Wang pattern can tell you, even the simplest cable is going to be extremely dense because she stacks them, both vertically and horizontally.
Yeah, and she has a tendency to actually drop back a couple of rows within a cable too. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Well, I've got this in my hot little hand with your hap on.
Is that Flight Naturals?
It is the Flight Naturals, and hopefully your
main freight is already called to let me know that they're on their way.
Oh, they're on their way. Yay.
On their way,
So,
yeah.
and yes, you did hear that right. If you are wanting, and you are a local down at Outlaw HQ, and you are wanting to love and squish and carry on, you will be able to, because they are going to be stocking these bad boys. I couldn't be happier with these. I really couldn't.
Good.
And the nice thing about this is that it gives you, like with the origin that you've got with the woolen spun, and then we've got this in our worsted spun, it just gives you some really fantastic options.
Natural colors never, ever, ever go out of style. And you can mix and match them. They're a great way to use up if you've got those unicorn skeins in your stash where you're like, I've never been able to figure out what to do with this. Just pick a 2-color colorwork yoke and slap it up with that
Well,
natural
that's
and
exactly
bam.
what I did with Goldwing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
exactly what I did with Goldwing. And these are perfect. And if you're needing to do some color work, you can mix and match these back with Bandit. And
Hmm.
you know, and that will give you some really fantastic colors. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really, really delighted. There are the 5 graduated colors, and just the samples that we've got are just gorgeous. Everyone so far the lot has gone out already since Monday, and they've been arriving. And yeah, and that of course, and then of course the other thing is the pulse.
Yeah,
And
which I
those,
am so excited for because so Stephen has launched Hibernitting. I had no idea what the patterns were going to look like. It was a complete surprise to me. Um, it wasn't. Spoiler alert. I know it's shocking to you. You can't believe this. Um, and so obviously having Pulse in, like perfect moment for it to arrive for both us and you.
mm,
Um, so just everybody, if you have not like started your engines for Hibernitting, those patterns are great. And instead, not like, don't get us wrong, we love the girls from Spin Cycles. I definitely had a couple of wilder nights with them at some yarn shows. Worse for wear in the morning, but their yarn is so hard to get, even though it's
yeah,
beautiful.
it
But
is.
so
And
Pulse is the perfect
it
solution.
is. It is. And we're just like, I mean, the other thing too is with these new colors that we've got, I was talking about it on Monday, we've done them so they can deliberately actually move and fade with each other. So the
Oh,
new colors
so
that have
good.
come in, we've got a lot of linkages there now. So there's a linkage between the flow and the blue and the laser and the lighter blue, and then in the quiver
Laser
in
kiwi or just laser? No, oh,
yeah,
stop.
no.
Um,
So we've sort of gone and done that quite deliberately. So then, if you are wanting to fade stuff and have colors move and shift, you're actually able to do that. The one kind of exception to that rule. So we've got the 5 new colors. The four of them all sort of link back in, and the one exception is the disco, which is the one that I'm knitting, because it is just essentially one big party.
yeah, well, that does
So
look like
it's
one big party. Sorry, I'm
so
getting waved at from down the road. I don't know how to communicate to someone that I'm on a call from a distance, but they'll get over it. Um,
yeah, so and we were just really, I mean, I have to admit, I started knitting with it. That's only a couple of days worth. And it's actually been really just the respite that I needed, just the respite that I needed to have and just watch all these colors flow and evolve
yeah.
and move.
Well,
It's been lovely.
I'm kind of in the same place. I'm using one of our Halloween fades at the moment.
Mm.
The trick one, which I think hopefully caught some people by surprise. Um, so the trick one was really, really fun. I'm working with it. I'm making this so faded because a lot like you, I just needed something
Yeah,
that I could like tick away at for a week or two and just
yeah.
feel really happy about. And while I don't love most top-down raglans, this will actually be my third so faded. Because spoiler alert, everyone, I like fades. Um, so it's really fun knitting. Like it's
Yeah,
super relaxing. It's just like the colors are crazy, but it's a good time and it's gonna
yeah.
look great when it's finished. And yeah, I'm just,
No,
ticking
it's all good.
away on it.
Annie's asking if I make a cowl by the hiberknitting, or from hiberknitting, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
What would be a good yarn suggestion?
So I have actually staked out the cowl for what I'm going to make.
Should I
And
pull these up on the Rav?
yeah, so
Because I see Kathy has already. See Kathy's. That's why. For those who are on Facebook, Kathy is actually already onto it and placed it in there. So I'll just do it here
for the YouTube friends,
for our YouTube friends. Yeah,
so
and
my
actually we've
plan
got
is to use Pulse and Bohemia actually together
yeah.
to make the cabled trellis cowl from the Hiberknitting collection. That is my plan. That's the one I'm going to make.
Okay.
Because it looks like so much fun.
Oh. So which one were you looking at?
I'm going to do the cowl, that is kind of like a snood almost.
Yep, it's with the stripes and the diamonds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay,
It's
hold on.
really cool how it's constructed. So you're using a combination of slip stitches and cables so you're slipping and cabling at the same time, which is really, really cool.
Right. Let me just put up the magical.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah. Magic.
I'm getting there.
Getting there.
Wait for it.
Boom. There we
Whoop,
go.
whoop. Oh, I think that's the first one.
Is that the first
So
one?
that's hibernating 1.
What?
We're
There's
actually on
more than what? Is there more than one hibernating? Oh, good.
We're on hibernating 2.
Hibernating 2. Stop
Yeah.
it. Oh,
Yeah,
hibernating 2. Okay. All right. So
there we go.
that's the shawl. So I love that shawl.
Yeah. There's actually no losers in this collection.
No. So let's have a look at the collection here. Right.
I highly
Okay.
recommend everything from
okay.
it.
Is it?
Yeah, it's great. So every year basically Stephen seems to be going down this really cool road of taking one of his really popular shawls and transforming the shawl into a whole bunch of things, right? So this year he's playing with this cabled trellis motif, and he's playing with the Fantastic shawl, and it's just going to be amazing. And so that's the cowl.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Bohemian
I love
Pulse.
that sort of almost an applique style of raised stitch, isn't it?
And I
across the
have to
top?
say, it's actually really easy knitting. Like there is a thing where when you're working on it, you have to adjust your beginning of round to move things around on it. But the knitting on all of these patterns is supposed to be relaxing and rhythmic.
Yeah.
So trust me, these are all very, very knittable. The nice part is if you start now, by the time winter rolls around, you could have a whole hyper knitting wardrobe.
Yeah.
And you will look crazy, but you'll be so comfortable.
I love it. Yeah. The
blanket is spectacular.
The blanket is just like off the hook. I mean,
So
that's insane.
I have been trying to twist Deb's arm. So we might, that big M word, we might get some kits together here at Outlaw HQ for the blanket. So as the youth say,
Come on,
in a phrase
Deb,
that I hate,
you love a kit.
watch this space. Sorry, everyone. I'm not a big fan of that phrase. Oh my God, it makes me nuts. Like, who came up with the watch this space thing? Like, I want to know. I need to know who this person was. Been on several mini rants today, everyone, already. It's first thing in the morning. I'm just getting caffeine into me, so it's going to be a journey.
Okay, so I've just gone and pulled up the triangle.
Yeah,
and I have to say, what I love about this is this has got our pulse and flight written all over it.
Absolutely.
Totally all over it.
No, completely.
Yeah.
Well, so Bicycle is Stephen West's Bicycle and Tandem are his 2 yarns, which are Falkland wool and Texel, which is actually quite close to what New Zealand merino would be like. So you will get that great texture out of it. And wool in general is just going to perform better here because with slip stitches, we want to avoid plant fibers, right? Because you need something that stretches. So let's stay far, far away from the plant fibers. I did have a moment with a lovely person the other day who has been led astray down the path of cotton to make a jersey. Yeah, it's not going great. Good news. We freed her from that evil. The exorcism has happened. It was successful. We've gotten her back on to some wool. But when we're doing slip stitches, we want them to be able to stretch and flex, right, guys? Because it creates excess tension every other row. So I would say that it's just going to be a great set for you to bang out in any, like, there's really no wrong combination between either of our yarns and Pulse to do almost all of these patterns, which is why I was so freaking excited for this collection to launch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And particularly the cow too, you know, it had that, I mean, if you wanted to emulate what it had there, it had that soft grey, which you could use, like, I mean, we've got the naturals, and then you could throw something fun underneath. Ugh, Fantastic. There is some
good to know.
really, this is just it. We are really, really lucky that there is some great stuff out there. And it's, being able to find it and stuff. I'm actually on a real jag at the moment. I've decided I've got the pattern that I was going to do for Phil. And I'm actually really going back down a pieces phase at the moment, like going old school again. I know I'm singing to the choir, but.
First of all, I hope I have been updated to like conductor at least. So the whole situation with knitting flat and seaming is structure, simplicity. The pieces are so much more manageable. You're not tracking 50,000 things at once. You don't have to keep track of increases at the shoulders and the neck and the front and the back and the side. And oh my God, is it going to fit? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And like, it takes so little time to knit pieces that if something like knits up, you just rip it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's so not a big deal. It's such better TV knitting too.
Yes.
To that point, I will be about this time next week. I'll have to send you the info as well so that you can put it out to your people. I will be looking for testers for a Aran weight jumper that's knit flat in pieces. It might happen to be designed with both a Rebel and a certain yarn called Kelly & Co. You might have heard of it.
Well, it might be sitting in the bag behind you, darling.
It might be
in the bag
over
behind
there.
you. I did see it there, yes.
Might be over there. So you guys might have heard of these yarns. They're from two small New Zealand yarn producers. No big deal. It's not a collaboration or anything. So I will be looking for testers, 5 sizes, knit flat, super mindless knitting. And just for the record, it's me, so there is an optional tubular cast on and garter selvage stitches. Welcome to the party, everyone. The technical difficulty will be next to none. The whole goal of what I'm trying to do with this particular pattern is to take a classic, old school, really simple knit and just bring it forward with more modern ideas of construction. So you're not like guessing where you need to seam from. Because the only problem with vintage patterns is that oftentimes they don't include selvages and the instructions can be more like suggestions.
Yeah.
Because our mothers and grandmothers had a different approach to knitting. While they might not have had more or less time to do it, they normally were knitting from a younger age using kind of set techniques. Like if you ever end up attempting to knit an Arnie and Carlos pattern, you will come across the phrase, it's a specific phrase in whichever Nordic language they speak. I've forgotten. Don't at me. I don't care. That's literally translates as the way your grandmother would do it. And like, surprise, I don't think many of us, I'm lucky, my great grandmothers taught me how to knit. So I knit like an old lady and I'm good with that. But I don't think a lot of us have that. So the vintage patterns are great, but like,
I know. Guy's saying your next to none might be different from mine. Guy, I've got your atlas sitting here in the shop. So believe me, you will have the skills for this. So yeah. Don't sell yourself short, Tiger.
The most complicated part is the cast on and it's optional.
Exactly.
But yeah, apart from that, I mean, seaming is just, I love to seam. The more you practice it, the better you get at it, the more beautiful the things turn out. And you get so much structure and durability and the fit is better. You can manipulate the fabric so much easier. Fun fact, the pattern does have optional gasp waist shaping. And about 2 months from now, it will have an optional A-line option as well.
Yay!
Yeah, we're getting there. One thing at a time. Babies.
Well, with the Christmas tree behind me too, I know a lot of people do like to do some knitted holiday stuff, which is not really you, I know. But if you are looking for that, and we have had people in, is that I'm sure I saw Charles sneak into the chat earlier before. If you are looking if you are looking for some Christmas gift ideas or some holiday knitting for decorations, do make sure you check out Charles's page, because he has got an entire collection of
Does he have those
Christmas knits.
baubles?
He has baubles, and he's got
Yeah.
Christmas socks, the coolest Christmas socks. He's got wine bottle covers, and
Ugh.
he's got
You know what?
he's got it all going on.
You know what I have to say? Someone sent me some link to some crazy mini sweater advent where you knit a tiny little colorwork sweater every day for 24 days. First of all, if you're doing this, amazing. So proud of all of you. Second of all, please don't suggest these things to me. Oh my God. Absolutely not. Like, very proud of all of you. I'm never going to do it. I can't help it. Yeah, I guess, like, I'm just going to kind of hammer away at this little guy for a little bit, because I started last night so that I would have something to be knitting while we were on air together, because the Mystery Knit Along is definitely not in a timeout. It's just in a, like, this doesn't have to be done anytime soon.
It's a bit like me and Shoji. I mean, I'd set myself the can goal. Well, that's still a wee ways off. Yeah. That's okay.
I think someone, by the way, popped in and asked, who missed the beginning, if this is a cardigan or a shawl. It's a shawl. It's a square working hat. It's Spire. If you scroll up earlier in the chat, Kathy has most likely, because she's amazing, thrown the link to the pattern in. It's knit in Rebel Destiny Light. It's a really, really fun guy. If you are looking for great gift ideas as well, another person to check out is fellow Kiwi Amy Vanderlaar and her incredible accessories collections.
Yeah.
Several of which just happen to be designed in yarns from the two of us. So do go check that out.
Well, she has got that beautiful the beeswax collection, and she had that really lovely scarf. No, was it a cowl or a scarf? It was a scarf.
Orfeo.
Orfeo, yes.
But no, beeswax. Oh, tail feather.
Tail feather.
Tail
that
feather.
was one I was thinking of, because it was done in the amber tripe, which is a colour you don't have anymore. But it is done in Bohemia.
We do have Dovecoat, which kind of plays the same role.
Yeah.
Although nothing is quite like Amber Trope, which I'm pretty sure Deb is still mourning on it. Yeah, she is still mourning.
Well, that was one of my faves too. I love that colour.
But yes, and I mean, also, Jared Flood's collection Woolens, which is all on Ravelry now, before it was only available as a book. If you're looking for great gift knitting ideas, Woolens is all accessories. I have made Far Hills, Spire, and I think maybe, and Crosshatch.
Yeah. And see, this is where those accessory patterns too, like if you've got a single, often you'll have a ball and a half of Bohemia or Gothic rolling around, or you'll have, Kelly & Co, you might have a hank of Kelly & Co, or you're wanting to try something out. I find accessories the perfect way if you're wanting to dive into a more luxury yarn or something that's a wee bit more expensive. You can do a smaller accessory project, get your hands on it, knit it all out, test it, and if if it's not your jam and you don't like it, well, you gift that sucker on, and if you don't, then it gives you a little nibble of what's to come, which I think is always a good idea.
And don't forget, if you've got scraps to use up, there's a man, you might have heard of him, his name's Stephen West, and he has all these scrappy hat projects. You might not have heard of them. I don't want to forestall anyone. No. But yeah, almost all of his hats are designed to use up your bits and bobs and leftovers. And people love a hat. Yeah. I think that they're a really underrated gift. First of all, unless you have an especially fat head, which some people do, hats pretty much fit everyone. If you know someone who has an especially fat head, this might be a really mean way of phrasing it. If you know someone who is larger noggined, then make sure that you're knitting the large size. Some hats do come in sizes. But Stephen's patterns tend to be quite generously stretchy. And there's a lot of fun brioche and stuff in there too. And I don't know, a brioche hat in the round takes 2 days, and then you're just on with your life.
Very good.
This guy's growing.
I know, so much to think. All right, well, I'm gonna get going, and thank you very much for hanging out today.
Anytime.
Hopefully the weather gets a wee bit better. Speaking of hats, I do need to write up my Kelly & Co hat, because I've sort of knitted it a couple of times now. It's on the round to it plan. You know that plan?
The hat and the jersey will come out at the same time.
Oh,
Hopefully, everyone.
God, yeah, it probably will
We'll
actually.
get there.
I've actually got one of the hats. One of the hats is at home, and the other one is actually sitting on the model in the shop with the Nanook. So I do need to get that done. I do need to get it done. It's like everything else. But that's okay. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
All right, everybody. I will be back again on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend. Look after yourselves out there. And if you are somewhere wet and cold, stay warm and dry. That's always good.
Yeah.
That's good advice for the day. Until
Come
then,
in and
take
check in
care.
with us. You know where we are.